Right, good afternoon, Chair Anderson and the members of the committee. My name is Esther Rogers, and I'm here today to urge you to support Bill 559. This bill would increase people's choices to live where they are placed in comprehensive care, comprehensive care for developmental disabilities. This bill is important to me as I have seen the lack of choosing in housing for people with disabilities, and I've worked for Bethesda Communities for about 4.5 years as a direct support service provider, and I've seen how like fundamental human rights on how to choose to where you lived were ignored, and it had a negative effect on the individuals. For example, I'll use the name Florence for privacy reasons. Florence was very social, very verbal, and she was placed with three nonverbal individuals, and she complained about it for years. Finally, like 2 years later, a capable staff came to try to help her get placed in another home, and she was told that she had to wait, and she ended up waiting like 4 years before she was placed in a home where she could be social. During that time, she had very self-destructive behaviors and a lot of really severe depression issues and self-doubt, and finally, fortunately, she moved to another home and with social people, and her behaviors dramatically just stopped, and she's very happy there, and I've just seen the difference. And she doesn't have to just talk to staff, and if she had been given a choice, she wouldn't choose to live in a home with nonverbal people. And if she didn't have to wait to be moved, that would, and she had a choice in where to move instead of just waiting for an opening, and she had a choice, that would have improved her life, her quality of care. Then I have another story of somebody I would call Judy, and again, for privacy reasons, that's not her name. She lived in a group home with somebody she really did not like, and she would be very destructive and very verbal behaviors, and became increasingly negative. Several employees complained on behalf of Judy because they saw the negative results of her and her not being able to move to where she wanted to move, or move the staff where nothing was done for years. And finally, the staff member moved, and it's taken about 1.5 years, and finally now her behaviors are getting better, and she sings now where she used to curse, and it's just, you know. So I know stories like Florence and Judy's are preventable with Senate Bill 559. With people with developmental disabilities will be given the same right that everyone in this room already has, the right to choose where they live. Senate bill will require case managers to provide 3 choices in residential placements when going to comprehensive care or transferring into another home. This ensures that the people will be able to choose where they want to live, and empower people with developmental disabilities to take control of their lives. Please support Senate Bill 559.
Thank you so much
for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Monis Anderson and members of the committee. My name is Mary Elizabeth Smith, and I'm here to ask for your support of Senate Bill 559. I'm a direct support provider in a group home owned by Bethesda Lutheran Communities in Portland. I have seen many people with developmental disabilities be ignored and not given a choice of where to live, and I believe this is fundamentally wrong. Everyone, regardless of whether or not they have a developmental disability, should be given the right to choose where they rest their head at night. After Fairview closed in 2000, 4 people moved into a Bethesda group home where I worked. A 5th person was placed in there as well. None of these 5 people were given a choice of where to live or which roommates they could live with. In fact, some of the individuals had behaviors that negatively impacted the other residents, causing them distress. All of these people were nonverbal and could not self-advocate. However, the staff who supported them, including me, became adept at communicating with them and could decipher what they wanted and how to better serve them. Last year, Bethesda decided to close down this particular home. Bethesda had managers of other residential facilities come in and interview the people living in the home to see if they wanted to come live at their facilities. However, as the people I helped support were nonverbal and these managers had never met them before, there was no real communication between them. Therefore, there was no true choice given to these people. Instead of asking staff who had provided services to them for years to help them communicate and help facilitate a real choice in where to live, these managers made the decisions for them. This was unacceptable in my eyes, almost as if they were commodities being passed around. And I hope that passing Senate Bill 559 would help prevent problems like this in the future. Senate Bill 559 would provide people with at least 3 choices in where to live when they enter into comprehensive care services or when they must transfer residences. Requiring that people with developmental disabilities hold on to their fundamental right in deciding where to live will help avoid improper placements and increase the happiness and stability in their lives. I hope you will support Senate Bill 559. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Questions? All right.
Actually, could I just ask one quick question? I'm really struck by this last testimony. And I will freely admit, I have not read every word of Senate Bill 559. I agree with it. I think it's a great idea. What I don't know if it's included, and you do, is how would the choices be developed for those residents? For example, the ones that you were talking about, in theory, they should have a case manager who would know them as well as you and the other caregivers did. But we know that the caseworkers have ridiculously high loads, and it's very hard, and they're not in day-to-day contact, so they don't learn the subtle cues that people who are nonverbal can offer. So I wonder if you could comment a little bit around ways to engage people like you who really do know, and sort of best practices, so that we're sure that input from the people who know these people the best really gets included as we're developing these choices.
Well, I guess the county case managers would probably need to talk to direct support providers more instead of just the program managers, which is what happened. They just talk to program managers, and they talk to us, but they come at certain times, you know, and I work at night, and so they don't come by at night. But I spent the most time with my clients because they were at day programs during the day whenever the people would come by, it's kind of silly. And then the case managers with the company, they're totally biased, and they're not necessarily thinking of the individual's needs. So.
Sure. I have a suggestion. Each client has what is called an ISP, an individual support plan. And one of the things I've done as an advocate is inform families that they do not have to go in and have a plan presented to them already finalized, that they can have as many people on the ISP team, whoever they want on the ISP team, and these would be people like group home staff workers who work day in and day out, or foster care providers, whoever it is. In my case, I've invited several different people that my son has in his life, in addition to myself, to be there for other aspects to bring to the table. And I think that would be a great way, because these are the people that know them, and I am developing those relationships in my community for my son, because one of the things parents of children with developmental disabilities knows is that at some point they're going to pass and their children will be left, and hopefully have advocates that will step up and speak up. And so this is my insurance to knowing that my son will have a voice even in my absence. And so I think, and some of the group home people I've met in my area are wonderful people and truly advocates, and in the vocational field, and I love seeing those people in those fields, but they need to have a part of the ISP process because they know them on a day-to-day basis.
It's very helpful. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.